Hey everyone, it's Iceman and welcome back to another Outriders video. This time digging into a new build I came up with for my Trickster that's more focused around being extremely tanky while also being able to do a ton of damage in one shot. This is an evolution from my last video that I posted that focused more around using borrowed time with the chrono set, shifting more into using a pump shotgun with hunt the prey. So I'm going to provide a lot of variations and things that you can switch to if you don't have the exact gear that I have. So don't worry too much about that. But I'm excited to share this build with you, and let's get into the gear. Looking at my inventory, you'll see a lot of legendary pieces equipped, but not every single one of these is absolutely necessary to make this build work. And I'll show you the two pieces I think in this that are essential to making the build work. And then all the rest you can trade in and out depending on the gear that you have and the different mods that you have. Looking at my weapons, the only one that I really use, I'd say probably 99.9% of the time, is the shotgun here. I have the Anomaly Effigy equipped, but you don't have to specifically use this pump shotgun. Any pump shotgun that has a high firepower, mine has 99.1k, which is why it really caught my eye. It's one of the highest numbers that I've seen in the game this far, so I got really lucky. But any kind of purple other legendary shotgun with a high firepower roll, and then some type of AoE burst damage, and I'm going to tell you why in a second, is very important in the build. When I was running other shotguns, I realized I had a hard time clearing adds when I was surrounded. And when that happens, especially if there's alphas or berserkers on you, you take a lot of damage very fast, you get CC'd, and then you end up dying majority of the time. So I wanted to look into a way where I could get AoE burst damage, and Concentration Blast seemed to fit perfectly. Concentration Blast reads, killing shots cause enemies to explode, dealing 113,000 damage multiplied by the maximum number of 6 enemies, so up to 6, within a 5-meter radius around the original target. So, and you'll see in the gameplay later, if I get surrounded, I look for a easily one-shottable enemy, a little guy that's just right next to me, and I kill him and everything else explodes around me, which obviously gives me a lot of health back because everything's in close range. It gives me armor. It just makes me, it gets me out of a really dire situation where I otherwise probably would have died without this. The other perk that's on it is Fortress. Receive up to 43% damage bonus based on your armor. And the armor value is pretty low that you want to get up to. I'm pretty sure from other videos it's around 20k or 50k armor to proc all the way up to 43% damage bonus, and that is a flat damage bonus across everything. So when you have this gun out, if you have that armor value, you're going to be doing 43% more damage, which is obviously a ton. You can swap this out for Killing Spree, which says killing shots increase damage by 25% for this weapon for 20 seconds. Bonus deteriorates with time and stacks up to 3 kills. So you could get a 75% damage increase versus the 43, but the only problem with that is you have to plan ahead, you have to kill some adds, and you have to get that rolling before you really go in after the high value elites, the bigger targets, so you have that 75% damage. So for me, I prefer to go with Fortress because it basically stays up the whole time. Now before we get into my armor, let's take a quick look at my skills. I use Twisted Rounds just for that damage increase. Venator's Knife is important for the reason of doing double damage on your shot. My first shot is always going to do a ton of damage because I'm using a pump shotgun that's focused on doing a lot of really high single shot damage, and Venator's Knife doubles that. So this is a core piece of the build here. And Hunt the Prey allows me to engage or disengage. When I teleport, I get behind the enemy, which procs all that behind damage, those perks that a Trickster loves, just being behind and assassinating targets. And it allows me to get shield, so it's kind of a get out of a bad situation type ability as well. If I'm surrounded or if I just need to get some shield back, I'm able to teleport to an enemy and survive that way. Looking at my class tree, I'm a full assassin top tree. Most of the perks are centered around doing more damage up close, weapon damage, Shotgun Master, Outrider Executioner, so I'm getting that damage increase when I start teleporting around to a target. Leap of Quietus you could potentially trade out if you wanted to. The armor piercing doesn't do as much for you as flat weapon damage, but I'm teleporting, so I might as well have this on as well. There's not much else I'd really take. I have cooldown for my movement abilities, so I can teleport around more often. Disruptive Firepower, when I throw my knife, I have 8 seconds of weapon damage increase, so that's 70% from these two alone. So when I teleport from here and I throw my knife from here, I have a 70% increase. I still have cooldowns here, bounty hunter for elite damage, make my magazine 50% bigger, and then when I'm surrounded by enemies, which is a lot of the time, I get more weapon damage based on the amount of enemies I'm surrounded by. Now getting into my armor, I would say that the god roll for the 3 perks in the middle are bonus firepower, cooldown reduction, and close range damage. I say cooldown reduction over something like long range damage, which is okay, because cooldown gives me the ability to teleport more, survive more, proc that 35% damage more, throw my Venator's knife more. Just basically using my skills allows me to do so much more damage, and cooldown reduction allows me to use my skills more. On my boots, I have radiation jump. So when I teleport behind something, it applies vulnerable, that extra 15% damage, which is very nice. And then emergency stance. Emergency stance got nerfed. It doesn't proc all the time throughout in an instance. Once it procs once, which is okay in my opinion, but it's still something strong to use because if you get really low, emergency stance procs and it keeps you alive. So it's kind of a get out of jail free card in case you get surrounded or something bad happens that's out of your control. On my chest piece, I have mitigation from death and damage absorber. On this build, I'm aiming down sights most of the time, and mitigation from death allows me to have almost 150,000 extra armor, which is crazy, and it helps me stay alive in the middle of enemies as I'm killing things. And then damage absorber gives me just flat armor and resistance no matter what. My gloves are gauntlets of the cannonball, mainly because of Captain Hunter. That 25% damage increase is crazy good, and then I put personal space on as well to give me another 15% close range damage. And then Sergio's beret is very nice because of sharp eye and bloodlust. It gives me, when I'm aiming down sights, it gives me more firepower when I kill things. Bloodlust, when I kill things, I get more firepower. So this is kind of the snowball effect that could go along with killing spree or something on my weapon as well. But Sergio's isn't absolutely essential, and I'll tell you why in a second. It would be something I'd trade out depending on what I'm doing. The last piece is probably the most important piece in the build, and that's the lower chrono suit, because of the skill ammo bargain, which when I have twisted rounds up, if I kill something, it refreshes 20% of my magazine. This isn't a full refresh, but it's something where if you're one-shotting things, which this build is focused around, is giving you ammo back. So if you take a little bit more time on an elite, something that takes 2, 3, 4 shots, it's okay, because then you can teleport to some trash ads, kill them, and replenish your mag, since you're getting 2 back for every 1 shot. It's the perk that really allows this build to shine, and I feel like it's something that is essential for this build, unless you make one change, which I'll get into in just a second. The other perk below is stare into the barrel. I'm surrounded a lot of times in this as I'm trying to kill a high value target, a brood mother, a captain, something like that, and it boosts my firepower significantly when I'm surrounded by other enemies. Very nice. I don't think it's essential, but it's something, if you do have it, great. If not, then try to put another type of damage perk here as well. Now the main variation that I would put into this build is a legendary that I haven't gotten to drop myself yet. I've done hundreds of runs and I haven't seen it, so I'm pretty sad about that. But if you don't have the lower chrono suit, if your damage isn't quite enough to one-shot things, to proc ammo bargains to get your ammo back, or if you're playing in a team where enemies have more health, they're harder to kill, then you would want to swap to the Ugake Otara's Cowl. And what that does is it has a perk called Instant Reload, where when you teleport using Hunt the Prey, it instantly replenishes your magazine in your currently equipped weapon. That means that when you teleport, which is very often, you're replenishing your full mag in your shotgun, which keeps up your twisted rounds the whole time. You don't have to worry about killing. You just teleport to things, you keep doing damage behind, you keep using your Venator's knife, and it's something that just keeps you going. So if you have that helmet, it's something I would definitely try to fit into this build, and then try to work around other things. I would just say try to get other damage perks on your like Sharp Eye or Bloodlust, that kind of thing, on your pants, and just work around using the Ugake Otara's helm. And that's the one-shot build. I hope you guys learned something or took some pieces from it to fit into your own builds. Let me know in the comments below if you're running a build similar to this, or if you have some other type of variations that you've been using that are effective. Always happy to hear and learn from other people as well. But for me, this is one of the strongest builds that I've used thus far in the game by far, especially for a Trickster. And I think it's something that I can keep growing, keep building on. But as long as you have the core pieces that I mentioned, you can pretty much make it your own. So take those cores, expand on them. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you enjoyed this, please leave a like, subscription, comment. All of those things help so much. And I'll be posting more videos on my Trickster as I come up with different builds. If I make variances here, I play on my Trickster and I'm leveling other classes on my Twitch channel, Iceman1H. Would love to have you there. We play Outriders quite a bit. And we discuss all kinds of different builds, theory crafting. I do community helps for people that need some help getting up their expedition tiers. So would love to have you there to say hi. Otherwise, until the next time, I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.
Looks like the Pharaohs built a camp in the impact crater. themselves a pod. I'm gonna ask if they're willing to give it back. Zahidi, I found a pod down here guarded by monsters. I've secured it. And plenty of rock samples for you to play with.
Perfect. I can't wait to run the test. If the monsters are interested in the pod, perhaps they're drawn to the upcoming electronics inside.
Or they're just attracted to big shiny things.
Outrider detected. Access granted.